welcome to this very impromptu episode of the She Scales podcast. And I apologise if there is background noise, but I just feel called to speak to you today as I am driving home from an event where I was a speaker today, and I just want to capture my thoughts whilst I'm looking at the most incredible UK sunset I think I've ever seen. It's like Bali orange, which is very rare for the UK. So I feel like that's speaking to me. I know my time is getting closer to Bali, but it's not quite here yet. Not quite here yet. That's Bali just saying hello and welcome, and she's ready for me. Anyway, back on track, because I really want to capture my thoughts and feelings from the event today. Because I think sometimes people share all the best bits, and I never want to be that person. I want to share like the good, the bad, the ugly, and the decision-making process that goes into all of that. Because you can choose to be someone who, if it doesn't go their way on day dot, that you let that either ruin your day, ruin your plan, ruin your mood. Honestly, and a bit of tough talk here, if that's you're not going to go far in entrepreneurship. I'm just going to say it how it freaking is. So, because like my first year, maybe a little bit of my second year, what happened today would have put me in the biggest mood. Like, pretty early on in the day. However, the levels of resilience now, it's just like water off a duck's back. And I'm like, okay, next what? What now? Now what? So let me just give you a bit of backstory. So last night I came down to stay in a hotel the night before I'm speaking at an expo in Milton Keynes, which is about a 2-hour drive from me. So I woke up this morning. I'd spent like ages on my slides this week. I'd say I think I got about 45 slides for about a 45-minute presentation, because they told me I'd got, I think it was 45 minutes because slots were an hour and they wanted 15 minutes sort of between the different speakers. I was like, wicked, cool, that we can do. Arrived at the venue, and granted, I should have left a little bit earlier. It's kind of the story of my life. But I arrive at the venue. Oh, let me also add, and this is not to pull down the organisation of that particular event. However, the fact that I've been an event host twice in the last month and have spent years working for an exhibition organiser, I am very qualified to talk on the organisation of events, because I've just hosted 2 of my own freaking incredible events. So that's the bar, to be honest. My events are extraordinary. So yeah, my expectations are high. I knew I needed to bring them down a little bit. However, I arrived today about a week ago I found out that my talk wasn't at the original time that I'd been told that my talk was. And I was like, okay, didn't know it was going to be first thing in the morning. You told me it was lunchtime. Which means, and not I just thought that, multiple other people came today to be like, oh, Sarah, I thought you were on at 12. No. So there's a few miscommunications that happened in the lead up to the event. When I arrived this morning, I also knew that they hadn't really been as good on the marketing side of things for the event. I could tell that from engagement on social media marketing. So I already had a good idea that it wasn't going to be a huge turnout, but I was prepped for that, absolutely fine. This is more about me getting practice speaking, to be honest. I didn't need it to be some packed out room, bonus if it was, but this is about me building the evidence for future me. So I wasn't placing any massive attachment to it, but I knew numbers weren't going to be where probably the event organisers wanted them to be. Anyway, so I arrive in the morning to see that not only is it super quiet and like it's my talk literally about to start, but then we go through to the main room and then we go off to the side room where we go up some stairs to some seminar room off to the side. No signposting, no visible agenda anywhere, so you wouldn't even know that there were talks up there, let alone who was on at what time. And I'm taken into a room with like, I think there was a green floor, low ceiling. It was a seminar room. It was just like a green boardroom, but maybe developed in like the 70s, maybe earlier. AKA, you guys know, listening to this, how precious I am about my brand. I walked in and I was like, hell the fuck no. Hell the fuck no. Like, it just got my back up straight away because I was just like, I don't even want to talk in this room. As it goes, between a lack of marketing, a lack of turnout, and then we're going to set my laptop up because I'm like, okay, we can go ahead with this, but I'm not liking it, I'll be honest, because there's barely anyone around. No one's been told what time the talk is, and I'm just like, well, I'm not presenting to, you know, a couple of people. I would actually rather not do it, genuinely, because that's time that I can go and speak to more people than that in the time that I would be talking. And then we find out, so my laptop is one of those like slimline, you know, travel laptop, like super slim, which means it's got the tiny HDMI socket thing. And so if you don't have a converter, you can't plug your laptop in. Now, I'm coming to an exhibition hosted by event organisers that have got speakers throughout the day who hadn't told me that I needed to bring any extra wires or equipment. They just said, bring your laptop. So I did. So I arrive to find out that they haven't got any way of plugging it into the projector. Oh, wonderful. So how are we doing this then? So bearing in mind, it's 10:30 in the morning. I've arrived to find basically hardly any visitors in the building. No way of connecting to the projector, and no, I hadn't been told. I had been told that I was in, I think, room seminar 1 or something like that, but I had no idea of the size of the room, and when I saw it I was like, oh no. So you can picture my face. Oh, and I hadn't had coffee yet either, so Villanera was in full flow this morning. I probably looked like a witch. However, what came about, he was like, well, do you just want to like go and I'll get some people from downstairs? And I was like, no. And he's like, no. And I said, no, I'm not going to do the talk. And he was like, okay, but you'll miss your slot. And I'm like, okay. And I was absolutely fine with that. And a past version of me maybe would have freaked out, being like, are we sure? Are we going to sacrifice this? Do we like just go ahead with it anyway? But like, no, the settings weren't right. And this isn't me being like a queen about like everything has to be perfect. But I talk about brand all the time. That room is not what I had come to speak in. And I'm not here to fuck about. So I was like, no, this isn't happening. I would literally rather not talk than talk here. Like this, I will be wasting my breath here. No. And so we didn't. And instead, because I was in my clip-cloppy heels, I used that time to walk my ass back to the car, change into my trainers, go get coffee and a toasty in the time that I was meant to be doing my speaker presentation, come back, fed, hydrated, well more level-headed, and happy to use that time for like mingling and networking, whilst also by now it's starting to get a bit busier. I'm seeing a few people, the vibe is a little bit better in the room, I'm chatting to a few people, and so I went back over to the exhibition organiser that I'd spoken to in the morning and asked, you know, what would is there any chance that you could squeeze me in this afternoon? And he's like, no, Sarah, like the agenda is back to back. You know that. And I was like, what about like a smaller presentation? Is there no way you could fit me in? And he was just like, no, it's not possible. And like, he'd keep smiling at me in a kind of, I'll be polite to the lady, but like, no freaking chance. But I was having none of it. Absolutely none of it. Because the thing is, and whoever needs to hear this today needs to hear it today. Sometimes everything aligns and the universe brings you exactly what you want at the exact time you needed to hear it or see it, and the signs are signing. But sometimes you need to be a persistent motherfucker and go and get it. You need to do the work. Sometimes the universe didn't hear when you knocked the first time, so you need to knock again and again and again. Because here's the thing, when people say like, it didn't happen for me, so I took that as a sign. Well, is that how you live your life? Do you always fall at the first hurdle? Do you look for excuses not to, or do you look for ways that you can? You must have heard me talk about this before, but I'm going to repeat it because it's freaking gold and everybody needs to hear it multiple times. There's a saying about downhill skiers. And it's because when they're going downhill, speed skiing, they're absolutely flying down the hill, steep hill at speed, and there are trees coming at them very, very quickly. So if they were to constantly think about, don't hit the tree, don't hit the tree, don't hit the tree, don't hit the tree, what do you think they're going to freaking do? They're going to hit the tree because our brain doesn't register don't. So if they were to focus on the obstacle, what they would do is bring the obstacle into their life and it would kill them. So they don't. What they focus on is the opportunity. They look for the path through the obstacles. There's lots of obstacles. This is downhill skiing. It's dangerous. So they look for the path. That's what they focus on. And instead of going, don't hit the tree, don't hit the tree, don't hit the tree, they go, look for the path, look for the path, look for the path. And that's how they get through all the trees. Now, some of you don't look for the path. Some of you like brush against one tree and be like, oh, well, this route must not be for me. Honestly, get your freaking skis on, get back on your path and go. I don't understand people who look for excuses not to, or blame the universe when everything didn't go as they want. Like, a universe doesn't just work out for you or bring you things that you need. Is like, not everything is a freaking sign from the universe, and I love talking about the universe. I do. But some of you are using it as an excuse to get away with not doing the freaking action that you say that you want. Huh? Somebody needs to hear this today. Message me on social media if this speaks to you today. Oh, if you can hear my sat nav. And so, yeah, I wanted to share this because you cannot just fall at the first hurdle. I'm someone that in the past, haven't done one recently, but would like to while I'm in the UK. But in the past, I've done like 10k obstacle runs, 10-mile obstacle assault course runs. There's 12-foot walls to climb over, barbed wire to climb under, lakes to swim across, rope swings, and like monkey bar swings, and like all these things that are physically enduring and demanding, and you fall over and you cut yourself, and it's muddy and it's hard and it's rocky and it hurts. Do you think that when I fall at the first hurdle, because I fall at some hurdles, that's going to happen? But do you think that I take that as a sign to quit the race? No! So where are you looking and blaming it as an excuse, where actually you just need to pick yourself up, dust yourself off? What's that song? Pick yourself up, dust yourself off and try again. You can dust it off and try again. You're welcome, lucky you. And so that's what happened today. That first little, I'm going to call it a blip, it was quite a substantial blip, but I'm going to call it a blip. That I could have let that ruin my day, because I'd made, I've taken a lot of time and effort to come to a different part of the country, an overnight trip, all the added expenses that come with that. And right from the word go, it wasn't going to happen. And so I could have been like, oh, that wasted time. But instead, rather than look for the obstacle, I look for the opportunity and go, I'm here now. How can I make the best of this afternoon? Right. And I could see, I watched what the speakers were doing on the stage, of course. Market research, always. I'm looking at what are their gaps, what are their opportunities. And I'm going back to him with information. So picture me going to the organiser, because I've either watched talks that are flat and boring, not interesting. I've watched talks that are solid sales pitches and have no value for the audience because it's just the supplier banging on about themselves. I've watched just dry, dull, unengaging. Audience isn't active if they're even sat there because it's so boring. By this point, I'm going up to him, knowing that he's watched my content, and I'm not even trying to not be big dick energy about this now. I'm saying, excuse me, honey, you know that I'm meant to be up on that stage. You know that I would lift the energy in this room. You know that I would pack out those seats. And he's like, Sarah, I know, but I can't. You know, there's not room. Like, you missed your slot. And I was just like, well, you need to find me a new one. So here's what I mean. Sometimes you need to be a bit persistent, because he knew and I knew that I was the best person on that stage for that job today. And so a little bit of persistency from me, and not taking no as the first answer, and going back with more research, more answers, more like feedback as to how his event is going, and me saying, I'm willing to help you out to make your event better. It's in your interest to find room for me this afternoon somewhere. I don't care how you do it. And so he came to me to say, look, Sarah, I can maybe give you 5 minutes before we're on the panel debate, like all together. And I was like, 10? And he's like, we don't have 10. He's like, we've got 5 minutes and that's it. And I mean, by this point, I'm nodding, but I know I'm going to take 10. Give me an inch, I'll take a mile. And so, yeah. So I went back to my presentation, the presentation that I'd spent freaking hours on, and copied and pasted it, cut it right down. I'm talking to about a quarter of just the most important bits, key value, all my storytelling bit out, so there's none of it about me. It's all value for the audience, because I've just seen all the other mistakes from other speakers and I've straight away learned from that. It's all value. And no, oh my God, it was such an old school in the way that they're like business cards and leaflets. Someone gave me a piece of paper to fill out my details. I was like, sorry, what year are we in? No, like, scan a QR code. What do you want me to do with this paper? So I had a QR code at the end of my presentation. Anyway, so he finds me 5 minutes. And I cut my slides down so it's just pure value. I get up, I take 10 minutes, but and straight away I own the mic. I know I've got a very short amount of time to make a very big impression. I'm not here to fuck about. You know how much I talk about, you've got one shot, you've got one opportunity. You know that Eminem song? That's it. That's your life. Every fucking day. You got one shot, one opportunity. And that might look different every single day, but you only have one shot to say yes, to do the thing, to make it happen. So this was my shot today. I was like, you're going to find some space for me this afternoon in that program. And however long it is, I'll own that time. Whatever it is. And so we made it happen. I got some really cool content out of it. I got some incredible feedback. Everybody that I'd spent the afternoon chatting with or networking, as soon as I got on that microphone, and of course you can hear my voice bellowing around the room, because I'm not here to talk quiet or whisper. Like, you're going to hear me when I'm speaking, and I'm going to make sure that everybody in that 10 minutes knows who's on the microphone, main character energy. And so straight away the seats all filled out. Everybody was taking screenshots or like pictures. People were like nodding along. Like that, the number of seats that were filled out for my 10 minutes were more so than other people's hour-long sessions, by far. So this is your message. Where have you not been shooting your shot? And where, even if you had a shot and either you missed it or it didn't go how you wanted it to look, life didn't go your way, it didn't seem to align, what did you do about it? Are you the person that makes it happen? Or are you the person that makes excuses? The reason I'm saying this is there's so many things that only come around once. Like, I know that I may never do that again. Maybe I will. I don't know. Who knows what the future holds? But at this point in time, I'm not planning to do it again. So I know that today was just a one-shot opportunity. And so if you treated every single day like that, of like, who haven't I reached out to? Or what could I do differently? Or how can I do 1% better than yesterday? Or, fuck that, what move could I do that feels 10% bigger than anything I've done this week? What is going to stretch me? When was the last time I even stretched? You know, stretching is painful, it's uncomfortable sometimes, which is exactly why we need to do it. Because you need to get outside your comfort zone. Woo! This has been an episode today. You guys have kept me kept me company whilst I've been on the motorway. Hopefully the audio isn't horrendous for this. But somebody needed to hear this today. And so this is my little pep talk from me to you. I feel like I've run out of words. I've been now talking a lot. My brain is frazzled from today. But from whatever happens, and even if nothing comes from today, because I didn't do it for an outcome, so even if nothing comes from today, I've learned so much, both from what I either expected to happen that didn't, things I didn't expect to happen that did, my little 10-minute shoot your shot, and all the people that came up to me after with other opportunities that might be of interest. Some are in this country, some are in other countries. And this is the thing, like, you're only one person away from a really good opportunity if you're in the right rooms. There were people with opportunities that I absolutely want in that room today. So of course, it wasn't just let me get some cool pictures on stage, although that was definitely part of it. But it was, let my voice be heard, because there will be people in here who don't currently know who I am, who I want them to know who I am, because I don't yet know everybody in here, so I don't know what opportunities they have, and they might have something that I would be a really good fit for, and that they're looking for someone like me. They just don't know I exist yet. P.S. That is like my motto, basically, of 2024 is like, I don't know if I've got like, it's not a motto per se, but I know that the biggest thing for me right now is, who doesn't know me yet? Who doesn't know me yet? That is powerful. So, whatever that piece of all of this you needed to hear, which bit landed for you today, I hope that you found this funny, entertaining, invigorating. Maybe it was the kick up the backside you needed. Maybe it was the little call out, call forward you needed to do to either reach out to somebody or to apply for something. I know people keep saying to me, oh, how do you get all of these things? And I'm like, I go and freaking get them. I'm not waiting for anybody to give me a golden ticket to anything. You know, one of the questions that I was asked on the panel debate today was, when it comes to female entrepreneurs, did I want to be here? I did not want to be here. I've ended up on the toll road. That was not the plan. So, hang on. Now I've got to pay whilst recording a podcast. That was definitely not the plan. Where does one pay? Stay on track, Sarah. Stay on track. Hang on, you guys are going to have to come with me whilst I pay for this. Huh? Whoops. Ooh. So, I was asked on the panel. Oosh. My apologies, guys. I'm still not going to edit this out this episode. I was asked on the panel, when it comes to like female entrepreneurs, female founders, and helping women to scale successful businesses, what more can we do? You know, it was one of those like collective questions about like, what can we do to create more space for women? Me being a provocative motherfucker was obviously not going to answer just the answer that they expected me to give. Again, because I'm here to like make a statement, be heard. You've only got one shot to be remembered. I'm not going to say some boring ass answer that anyone would expect me to give, because that's forgettable. And I'm not here to be forgettable. I don't know if you'd gathered that. And so my reply to his, what can we do to help more women get visible, was women need to stop waiting for somebody to give them a permission slip. I saw a lot of eyebrows go, whoop. And I said, women need to stop waiting for someone to grant them a golden ticket and just go freaking get it. To which a load of women that were sat next to me were like, wait. But it's true. Rather than waiting for someone to grant you space, to hold space for you, go create your own space. Go take up space. So yeah, I wanted to end on that note, because so many people say to me like, how do you get these things? Or how do you do this? Or how do you do that? And I'm like, I go make it happen. If you want something, be the one that go makes it happen. If you haven't got something that you want yet, what can you say you've actually done to get yourself in the direction of that? And it doesn't mean that you have to shoot for the stars in step number 1. But if your goal is something really big, really stretchy, or global and massive, now, of course, it's going to take a bit of you building up the evidence to get there. In which case, what does step 1 look like? If your big, stretchy goal is step 20, what does step 1 look like? What can you do today? What can you do this week? What can you do this month? What can you do this summer? Rather than being like, nobody does anything in summer. Whereas I came back to England for this summer with every intention to get as visible as fuck. I knew this was going to be a massive summer for me. From a visibility perspective, I knew it would be like an energy toll in the best way. I knew it would be big energy, but also like burning the candle a lot. I'd need a lot of rest and recovery, and I'm looking forward to getting back to Bali and having a quiet winter after such a big summer. But I had that plan because this is part of me building the steps for the future. So what is your big step 20? What is that massive, stretchy, global goal that you've got? That big thing that feels like maybe it feels completely out of reach, but it's something that's really important to you and it's on your vision board. What is that for you? And if that currently feels like a million miles away, what can you do today to take yourself one step closer? What does that on a smaller level look like? Shoot there, get that goal, and then progress from there. I never, this is actually quite true for my running, I never set out on a run thinking, let me run 10 miles today, because I just wouldn't leave. I just wouldn't. But I do set out with let me run 3k, 5k, and then see how we go from there. When we get there, we'll see how we go from there. And so when I get there, and actually it feels pretty easy, pretty good, pretty light, then I can just be like, oh, well, I'll just go a little bit further. And I'll just go a little bit further. And that's what I do with my goals. Not really little bits, but I do what is in front of me. What can I do right now? What can I do this summer? What can I do in Bali? What can I do in the US? What can I do in the UK? You know? Are you really leveraging all the opportunities in front of you? Honeybee, I'm going to leave this here because I thought that this would be a 5-minute chat. And here we are, 30 minutes of me just hyping you up, Queen. Probably digging you out a little bit, but I know that this will be of value to some of you and a little kick on the backside to some of you. I'm going to get messages after this being like, Sarah! If you enjoyed this episode, tag me on Insta, share it to your stories, tag me Sarah Buckland Coaching. I would love to know what line or what piece stood out to you, or send me a message on Insta. Or what I'd love even more is if you could share it with one friend who also needs to hear this message today. I'd freaking love that, because one of my goals is to get my podcast further out to people. So if you could help me in that way and share this either to your social media or with one person that you think would find value in this podcast, I would absolutely love that. And if you're not already, I'll drop the link here so that you can come join the She Scales Telegram group. It's a relatively new Telegram group, but it's an awesome community. I only started it 2 weeks ago, and at the time of me recording this, we've got 70 members inside. And like the chat is popping. We've got a 30-day LinkedIn challenge going on at the moment. People are introducing themselves, making new friends, meeting people from other countries, other industries. And it's just a really, really cool vibe. So if you're not already in that group and you would like to be part of a community of female entrepreneurs from all different stages, hop yourself in. I'll pop the link underneath here, but it's sarahbucklandcoaching.com/shescales. And that is all for today, folks. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I shall speak to you soon. With love. Bye.